Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that literally lifted humanity off the ground. We're talking about the invention of the airplane. A tale of ambition, rivalry, and two brothers who dared to dream of the skies. Before we get to the Wright brothers, let's set the stage. For centuries, humans had gazed at birds with envy. Legends like Icarus warned of the dangers, but that didn't stop brilliant minds from trying. Leonardo da Vinci sketched flying machines in the 10th century, with designs for ornithopters that mimicked the flapping of wings. Though they were never built, his work laid a conceptual foundation, showing a deep understanding of aerodynamics way ahead of its time. Fast forward a few hundred years to the 19th century, the age of steam and steel. Hot air balloons had already conquered the vertical, but controlled, powered flight remained a distant dream. Sir George Cayley, an English engineer often called the father of the airplane, was the first to understand the fundamental principles. He identified the four forces of flight: weight, lift, drag, and thrust. He even built and flew the first successful gliders, carrying a person, which was a monumental step forward. Others followed, like Otto Lilienthal in Germany, who made over 2,000 glider flights, meticulously documenting his findings. Tragically, his story ended when a sudden gust of wind caused his glider to stall, and he passed away from his injuries. His last words were reportedly, "Sacrifices must be made." This was the world that Orville and Wilbur Wright entered. They weren't wealthy aristocrats or university-funded scientists. They were bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio. But they had something special: a methodical approach, an incredible work ethic, and a partnership that was greater than the sum of its parts. They read everything they could about aviation, including the work of Cayley and Lilienthal. They realized that the biggest unsolved problem wasn't just generating lift, but controlling the aircraft once it was airborne. This is where their bicycle-building expertise came in handy. They understood balance and control in a dynamic system. Watching buzzards soar, they noticed how the birds twisted their wingtips to turn and maintain balance. This observation led to their groundbreaking concept: wing warping. By twisting the wings, they could change the amount of lift on either side, allowing the pilot to roll the aircraft and make controlled turns. This was the key that had eluded so many others. But theory wasn't enough. They needed data. The existing aerodynamic data from other pioneers, they discovered, was unreliable. So, what did they do? They built their own wind tunnel right in their bike shop. It was a simple wooden box with a fan, but inside, they tested hundreds of different wing shapes, meticulously measuring lift and drag. Jet. This homemade device gave them the most accurate aerodynamic data in the world, allowing them to design a truly effective wing. With their design perfected, they needed a place to test it. They chose a remote sandy stretch of land near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The steady winds were perfect for glider tests, and the soft sand would cushion any well-unscheduled landings. From 1900 to 1902, they made hundreds of glider flights, refining their control systems and becoming master pilots. They learned how to handle the aircraft in the air, mastering the three-axis control system pitch roll and yaw that is still the foundation of flight control today. By 1903, they were ready for the final piece of the puzzle: power. No car manufacturer could provide an engine that was both lightweight and powerful enough. So, true to form, they designed and built their own. With the help of their shop mechanic, Charlie Taylor, they constructed a simple 12-horsepower gasoline engine. They also had to invent the propeller. They realized a propeller was essentially a wing rotating vertically. Using their wind tunnel data, they designed two highly efficient wooden propellers, a major engineering feat in itself. The stage was set. December 17, 1903. It was a cold, windy day at Kitty Hawk. After a failed attempt a few days earlier, it It was Orville's turn. He lay flat on the lower wing of their machine, the Wright Flyer. The engines sputtered to life, the twin propellers whirred, and the aircraft began to move along its wooden launching rail. Wilbur ran alongside, steadying the wing. Then it happened. For 12 seconds, the Flyer was airborne. It traveled just 120 feet shorter than the wingspan of a modern jumbo jet, but it was a true, sustained, controlled, powered flight. Humanity had finally broken the bonds of Earth. They made 3 more flights that day, with Wilbur's last flight being the longest, covering 852 feet in 59 seconds. A local boy snapped a photograph of that first flight, capturing one of the most iconic moments in human history. True notes. Amazing how a story like this can still give you chills. The dedication and sheer genius of these two brothers is just incredible. If you're enjoying this journey into the history of innovation, do me a huge favor and hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know what kind of stories you want to hear next. Let me know in the comments what invention you think is the most important of all time. Now, you might think that after their success, the world immediately celebrated them. But that's not what happened. The press was largely skeptical. Many papers, having been fooled by false claims of flight before, simply didn't believe it. For years, the Wright brothers struggled to get recognition or to sell their invention. They faced disbelief in their own country, while in Europe, other aviators were making rapid progress, inspired by, and sometimes copying, the Wrights' designs. Determined to prove their achievement, Wilbur traveled to France in 1908. The European aviation community was skeptical, viewing the Americans as secretive and perhaps even frauds. But then, Wilbur flew. And he didn't just fly. He put on a clinic. He made graceful, bank-and turns, flew in figure eights, and stayed aloft for over an hour at a time. The crowds and the press were stunned. They had never seen such complete control of an aircraft. Too, he became an overnight sensation, and the world finally acknowledged that the two brothers from Ohio had truly solved the puzzle of flight. Back in America, Orville was conducting similar public demonstrations for the U.S. Army. These flights were also a resounding success, leading to the first military contract for an aeroplane and cementing their legacy in their home country. The impact of their invention is almost impossible to overstate. Within just a few years, aviation-exploded airplanes became faster, more reliable, and capable of flying longer distances. By World War I, they were used for reconnaissance and combat, changing the face of warfare. By the 1930s, passenger air travel began to connect the world in ways never before possible. And just 66 years after that first 12-second flight at Kitty Hawk, Neil Armstrong, a man from their home state of Ohio, stepped onto the surface of the moon. That giant leap was made possible by the small hop that Orville and Wilbur Wright took on a windy beach. Their story is a powerful lesson in perseverance, methodical thinking, and the power of collaboration. They weren't just dreamers, they were doers. They identified a problem, broke it down into manageable parts, and solved each one with ingenuity and relentless testing. They proved that with the right mix of curiosity, intelligence, and sheer hard work, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things that change the world forever. And that's the incredible story of the first airplane. It has a journey that started with a dream of soaring like a bird and ended with a machine that opened up the heavens. Thank you for watching.